Howdy folks, welcome back to Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. This is Durka13, and we left you in kind of a cliffhanger. We built this new ship. We're going to see if we can get it into orbit. So, let's go ahead and start. Before we do, I mentioned previously that we have MacLeod installed. We're going to hit MacLeod here, open orbit info, and that will give us our info on our apoapsis and periapsis. And that way we don't have to keep opening the map to see that kind of thing. So, T for SAS. Let's launch. Now, a standard orbit, you don't want to start tipping over until you're at about 100 meters a second, which we are going very fast. So, let's encourage it to tip a little bit. Yeah, we're going super fast here, folks. These SRBs may have been a little bit of overkill. And here we go. You can see they're about to burn out over here. And we'll drop them. Drop them. Kaboom. This thing is fighting me already. And we're going to encourage this to tip over even more. We're not really where I'd like to be at this point. Yeah, so we're definitely going to hit space. It's not going to be a very good orbit, though. Okay, let's cut that engine, because you can see our apoapsis is already in space. So we don't really have to worry about that. Now, that wasn't a very efficient orbital burn. So as we get closer to this, we're going to go horizontally, and then we're going to push this apoapsis and try to wrap it around the planet, meaning we'll orbit. So we have a minute and 11 seconds until our apoapsis. Oh, you can see in the options before we started the actual game, before comlinks or com networks, whatever the option was called, you can see this green line here, our ship to the space center. So now we can barely turn this thing, but we are turning it. And we're just going to burn it right towards the horizon like this. There we go. And let's give it a burn here. Now you can see that our apoapsis, our time to apoapsis, is still shrinking. That's actually a good thing here. If it was going up, that means we're burning too close to the apoapsis. And you can see that we're pushing out our orbit now. Hopefully we have enough fuel for it. That was a very inefficient orbital burn, so my apologies. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see how much fuel are we rocking here. Yeah, we're going to have to stage in a second here. I messed up that staging. Yep, let's see. Now, can we do it? I think the answer is going to be yes. We are burning through our fuel real quick here, but we're very close to having an orbit. And there we go. We're orbital, folks. It's not a great orbit, but it is an orbit nonetheless, so I will take it. So you can see our orbital path is all the way around the planet. We're not going to smack into the ground. 70,000 periapsis. Periapsis is the lowest point in your orbit. Almost 71,000. Cool. Look at that. Now, we do have a bit of science we can get. Let's do the mystery goo, even though it's barely going to give us anything. Yeah, 2.3 science. I didn't expect that much out of it. Let's turn her over, just so we have some light on this side. Same thing with temperature data. It's not going to give us anything. But we do have the pressure data here. The instrument reads 0. It's as if we were in a vacuum. Whew. Oh, Kerbals. There we go. Our first orbital flight, folks. Wasn't that bad, actually. Video number 2, easy peasy. And that actually completed a contract for us, too. So, orbit Kerbal. Hooray. And that's old stuff. Now, how do you get back from orbiting? Well, you burn in reverse, pretty much. So we're going to point retrograde. There it is. And keep an eye on our periapsis here. As soon as I start burning, this will start shrinking, and I'm going to bring it down to about 30 kilometers. There we go. Now, you could see our periapsis here, the lowest point in our orbit. We're going to be at 28,000 meters up. So that means we're going to enter the atmosphere. The atmosphere is going to slow us down enough that we don't fly right back into space. And then we will catch the atmosphere and slow ourselves down. And looks like we might land in the desert, which that'd be pretty cool. All right, so let's just go ahead and time warp until it stops us as we enter the atmosphere again. Oh, actually, I lied. We're going to stop that. And what we're going to do is stage. There we go. And now, I don't want to hit the atmosphere with that. Now we'll go back to our time warp. Sorry, it's really dark. I'll consider putting lights on the ship once we actually can generate electricity. Okay, good. And we're going to come in on the light side, kind of. All right, entering the atmosphere. We can keep an eye on our heat shield here. It's also called an ablator. And you can see, you will see, you won't see it yet. But as we start hitting the atmosphere, this will actually start burning away and losing hit points. You can see it's starting to glow a little hot. Let's see, as of right now, we are going 2,300 meters a second, which is pretty damn fast. So we're going to have to burn that off before we hit the ground, because you don't want to hit the ground at 2,300 meters a second. Otherwise, splat. Look at the view, though. God, I love this game so much. Yeah, we're going super slow. Oh, you can see we lost a little bit of ablation there. What do you say we speed this up a little bit? Could be a little risky. Ah, that was super bad. Once we actually land with Valentina, she'll gain an experience point, and then we can have her auto control the stick. So she can keep us pointed at prograde and retrograde at that point, which will come in really handy for like right now, because I'm gonna have to babysit this and keep it on retrograde so it doesn't drift too far away. I'll put that there. You can see our speed is starting to decrease a little bit. Once we hit like this middle part of the atmosphere here, you'll see us really start to slow down, and you'll see the G-forces pop up, because it's, you know, you're essentially almost not a solid wall, but you're hitting a wall that is just going to start slowing you down tremendously really quickly. Oh, we're going slow. It's awful. I'm sorry, we're dropping so slow. Let me rephrase that. You can see over here our apoapsis is actually under 70K, which means we're not going to go back into space. Not that I think we would have, but where are we going to end up here? Oh, I thought we were going to hit the desert. We were going to be real far off. See, I think it's right around 30K, 25K. You hit the densest part of the atmosphere. That'll slow you down the most. And now we're really starting to drop here. Yeah, you can see over here, it recommends we don't blow out our chute, which is probably a good idea considering it would just get ripped off, us going over 1,500 meters a second. You can see the G-forces down here starting to increase as we slow down quicker and quicker, as we're about to hit the thicker part of the atmosphere here. One of the nice things about this command pod too is you really don't have to worry about it deviating too much from retrograde. There we go. Now we're really slowing down. Pumping out what? Is it like 4 Gs? There we go. We're still supersonic, but we're almost slowed down enough to open up our chute. Yeah, there we go. It recommends opening the chute about 250 meters a second. Oh no, they must have raised it. No, I'm thinking of a really old version of the game, I guess. So let's go ahead and pop our chute. Sound is really loud in my headset. I rewatched episode 1 and it wasn't nearly as loud as I actually thought it was. So, all right. Let's time warp until we're close to the ground, eh? And by ground, I mean, you know, the big blue ocean under us. And parachute's going to open. There it is. Got almost like 10 Gs there. And there we go. Stop the time warp, or the physics warp. Now we're drifting at... Sorry, phone just went off. Now we're drifting at a measly 6.2 meters a second. And we have splashdown. World's first milestone. We have returned to the surface from orbit. Yay us! We are going to actually EVA here. And we're going to take our barometer data. There we go. We're going to board, and we're going to log that data again, just to get us a little more science. And now we'll recover. Valentina, being a huge hero, the first Kerbal ever to orbit her home planet of Kerbin. We're proud of her. Netted us 74 science. Well, we have 74 total, about 30 science for that mission. Oh, and you can see that Valentina is now a level 1. Cool. Oh, and I didn't realize it said that. Log. Orbits around Kerbin. 2. Cool. So, R&D. Let's unlock some more junk. We are of course, going to want... Now, we can only get one of these. Now, what do we want to get? We get batteries. We could make like our first satellite. What do we want to do? I suppose advanced rocketry is going to be our best bet here. It gives us a bigger fuel tank, and with that we can get more science overall. Yeah, it'll cost us more missions, but we could do it. So we're going to take a mission. First one I saw actually is what I wanted. Explore the moon. So what we're going to have to do is just fly by the moon. Easy peasy. And we have a spot for one more. I guess I could show you guys this. These are really easy money. The test apart at the launch site. So what is it? It's the RT-10 Hammer SRB. So we'll take that just so I could show you. So new, we're just going to call this, no, we can't call it anything until we put a command pod in there. Call it test. And we have to put the hammer. There we go. Now, this is just going to be a test. So we're going to take all of the fuel out of it, actually. So when we actually stage it, it's not going to go anywhere. Doesn't matter who the pilot is. They're not going to gain any XP or anything like that. So here are our missions. We're going to run test. There we go. We completed that contract. You can see it flashing over here. That means, yay, we completed it. And it's just, those are just really easy money. Those I'm mostly going to be doing off camera just to increase our funds. But now you know how to do it. Cool. There we go. Now, let's see if I can cancel a few of these and get us a decent second contract to go off of. And my phone keeps going off. Sorry, I forgot to vibrate it after the last time. It's my wife. I don't want to ignore a text from her. Alright, we're good. Alright, let's see. Keep canceling these. Hopefully we get something good. I don't know what I'm actually hoping for here. Bah, whatever. So I think what we're going to do is, plan a moon flyby. I think is going to be our best bet. Now, we can do that without upgrading buildings, although I'm not that great of a player that I can eyeball moon encounters and that kind of thing. So we are going to make a couple building upgrades here. The first one being to the tracking station. For 150k, we get patched conics, which shows us our interactions with other orbital bodies. So as we get close to the moon, we'll actually see that, oh, we're going to encounter the moon. The other one is, was it mission control? Flight planning, yep, 75k. And that, yep, see, I'm glad I silenced my phone. And with that, we can actually plan maneuvers, which you'll see shortly. All right, so vehicle assembly building. And we're going to plan our newest ship. Command pod. We're going to call it Moon Flyby. There we go. We, of course, want to put our parachute on it. And we're going to want to deck this guy out with science. So, we're going to want to bring all the science home, too. So, let's put these guys on there. Now, this isn't really the most efficient way of doing this, I know. What we should be doing is EVAing, but that would cost us more money to upgrade a building, to let our Kerbals EVA, to get outside of their spaceship and collect data. But we'll get to it eventually, before we land on anything, certainly. That was a waste. Was it Shift X? Yeah. These all don't have to be duplicated. That was too much. There we go. There we go. Okay. We're going to want to put a heat shield on here, just because it does get hot coming back into the atmosphere. There we go. We're going to put a 400 fuel tank in there. And we're going to put our newest engine in here, the Terrier. The Terrier is a very small engine, but it gets very good fuel efficiency in space, which this whole thing is going to be what's flying us to the moon. You need, was it like 800 or 900 delta V, there we are, to get from Kerbin to the moon. So you can see we have more than enough here. This little triangle V means delta V. Now, the goal is to get this into orbit around Kerbin, with this being able to do the rest. So, let's go ahead and throw something together here. To orbit Kerbin, you need about 3,500-ish delta V, 38, it varies a little bit. and I'm not the most efficient. So there's that as well. There we go. So you can see right there, that's already 2200 delta V. Which isn't that great, honestly. So what we're going to do is take that off, and we're going to put another engine there, and we're just going to break this up a little more. Like that. And then we'll put a couple more fuel tanks down here. It's going to be a very tall ship. Hopefully it can keep itself together. And we're going to need how do we want to do this? We're 21 of 30 parts right now. I think this is what we're going to do. We're going to put a couple more fuel tanks up in here. Oh, that did not work the way I wanted it to. Those are acting really wacky right there, so let's move them down a bit. There we go. And we're going to put some swivels down here. And we're going to change things a little bit here. Just like this. You know what I did forget is the decoupler up here. I'm glad I remembered that. Otherwise, that would have been a really awkward reentry. There we go. And move you down there. All right, so you could see we now have what, 25, pretty close to 35. So we're actually going to add a little more fuel. All right, so 1200 plus 800, we'll say 900. It's closer to 900. 2100 plus 1500, 3600. So in theory, this should get us to orbit. And we're perfectly at our part limit too. I guess we're going to launch it. Well, we're going to launch it in episode 3 because I love leaving you guys in cliffhangers. So I hope you enjoyed episode 2. We had our first orbital flight. It was fantastic. Valentina is a hero. But come back next time to see us do a moon flyby and get a ton of science. I can't wait. So please make sure to hit the like button. It'll really help me out. It justifies me playing video games to my wife, and I like proving her wrong. So hit the like button. If you want more Kerbal, hit subscribe because there's going to be Kerbal videos coming. Otherwise, take care, have a good day, and don't do anything I wouldn't do. Bye-bye.